What's up, guys? I wanted to do another video talking about all of this business with um the inghams being in debt. So the IFAM obviously the inghams keep saying, oh, it's not true, it's lies, and all that. But at the end of the day, I refuse to believe a single word either of those two say. And the reason I refuse to believe them is because Chris and Sarah aren't really well known for telling the truth. You know, the thing is with Chris and Sarah is they've both become very well known for lying. They've become, that's the thing here. They've not been, they're not well known for telling the truth. Like, if they were more well known for telling the truth, I'd be more likely to believe them on this, but because they're so well known for lying, it's kind of impossible for me to believe anything that they actually say because it's more than likely not true. That's just my opinion on that. I don't expect people to agree with that opinion, but there you go. I mean, obviously it makes me laugh. That the IFAM always think that Chris and Sarah are actually telling the truth when the reality of the situation is they're not always telling the truth. And this happens to be one of those situations where neither of them actually are telling the truth. Neither of them are actually, neither of them are actually telling the truth. They are both lying through their back teeth. And the IFAM need to wake up and start realizing that. I've watched a lot of the Raccoons video or Doodles videos recently, and I 100% believe that he's telling the truth. It's like, why would Doodle lie? What reason would Doodle have to be putting information out there that isn't true? Why would he? What reason would he have for putting information out there that he knew was false? I know that he's only doing these videos that he's been doing recently because he knows that all of this information, is 100% true. And I think we all know that it's true, but the IFAM obviously refuse to believe that it's true. I guess that's just them for you. They're more likely to believe that the allegations are not true. That's their lookout. That's what they choose to believe, then that's down to them. But I think we all know that it is true. Like, it's just a thing. Like, I believe a lot of what Michelle like with Mrs. R. I believe a lot of what she says, and I believe a lot of what Dougal says because they're both well known for telling, more well known for telling the truth than what the Inghams are. They don't really tend to lie about stuff the way that the Inghams do. And they don't, they never really lie about anything. That's the problem. They don't lie about it. Well, they don't have any reason to lie about things like that. That is the problem. Like, what reason would they have for lying about something like that? Why would they have any reason to lie and say that that's not true? When the reality of the situation is that, yes, it is actually true. I don't know what to say, at this point. It's just, a crazy situation, but it's kind of ridiculous that the Inghams are constantly claiming that that this isn't true, it's all lies, when we all know that it isn't. They won't, they'll keep denying it, they'll keep denying it they're over 100 grand in debt. But we all know that it's true, we all know that they are over 100 grand in debt. And I don't care whether the IFAM believes that or not, that doesn't really, I'm not like, at the end of the day, they need to, I feel like, it's just ridiculous that they choose to believe every single thing that the Inghams say. They choose to believe that the Inghams are always 100% telling the truth, when the reality of the situation is they're not always telling the truth. They are, a lot of the time, they are quite blatantly lying. and the IFAM, and the IFAM are actually falling for those lies. The IFAM are, basically them, and what they do, as I've said before in previous videos, what the inghams are doing is they are manipulating their fans into thinking that everything is okay, when in reality, not all is all is not okay, or is not as okay as they're claiming it to be. That is the reality of the situation. There's no skirting around that. It's true. They're claiming that everything's absolutely fine, but it's not. They're claiming that things are also well and good, but the reality is things are actually a lot worse than what they claim they are. Are actually a lot worse. You know, and that's what people need to be thinking about realistically. Is that the inghams? That's what the people need to have to realise, is that the inghams are actually lying. I do these videos because I know it's true. I know that all of this information and everything is true. As I said in the video, so I did obviously that video last night. And I said I wouldn't be I wouldn't be doing these videos if I knew that all of this information and everything wasn't true. If I knew that it was bullshit and it had actually been proven as being total bullshit, I wouldn't be doing videos about it. I think if it had been proven as being total bullshit, I don't even think Google would still be doing videos about it and would be talking about it. If it had been proven as bullshit, I don't think Michelle, like and Mrs. R, I don't think she'd be talking about it. But we're only talking. The only reason that people are talking about it is because it is actually true. And they are in serious debts. And they do owe over 100 grand in debts. And that's basically the truth. I'm sorry to say. I know some people probably won't believe me on that, but you know, it is what it is. Some people think I'm talking absolute BS, but I can guarantee you that I'm not. I can guarantee you that everything I've said in my videos, either yesterday and today, obviously this video now, is true. As I said, if the inghams weren't so well known for lying, I would probably be more likely to believe. But it's like, why would I want to believe? Why would anyone choose to believe two idiots that are so well known for lying? Why would you choose to believe two people who aren't well known for telling the truth? That's the most bizarre thing about this, is the fact that the iPhone would choose to believe two clowns who aren't exactly well known for telling the truth, and are more well known for lying through their back teeth about a lot of things. Namely, one of those things that they like to lie about is the allegations in particular. That's one of the things that the inghams do like lying about. They claim the allegations made in this press weren't true. We all know they are true. We all know, and it's been proven that those allegations were true. You know, we all know that all of this stuff about him cheating on his wife, sleeping with a fan, and sending sexual messages to teenage girls. We all know that's all true. We all know that none of that is actually a lie. Simple as that. I'm not going to apologise for saying that people shouldn't believe a single word that Chris and Sarah ever say, because they're not well known for telling the truth. They are incredibly well known for lying. And people need to start realising that. People need to realise that the inghams are not always telling the truth. But this is the thing, they're not always telling the truth. They are sometimes lying. That is what they do. They lie and they lie and they lie. That's what they like to do. They like to lie about stuff. That's what they've become well known for. Is lying about stuff constantly. That's what they do. That is the true definition of what they actually do. They lie about a lot of stuff. And, they've become well known for that. They have been ridiculously well known for that, in fact. Um, I mean, that is the problem. They are ridiculously well known for lying. You know, they've never been known for telling the truth. At the end of the day, they've never been known for that, and they've always, you know, they never have and never will be known for that. You know, never. They are absolute idiots. The power, you know, when the people don't realise that the inghams are fucking blatant lies, because that's what they are. They are the biggest pair of liars I've ever flipping seen. And I don't care if people don't agree with me on that. And at the end of the day, I am not the slightest bit bothered about that. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I have my opinion, and my opinion is that they are a pair of fruit hates and a pair of bloody liars. And I will stand by that 110% because I know that it's true. You know, and I certainly won't believe them because they're not exactly, you know, they're not well known for telling the truth, but that's the reality of the situation. It's as simple as that. I mean, that is basically the reality of the situation. They are absolute lying bastards. Simple as that. I mean, it is just a crazy, you know, situation. Obviously, you know, this business with, you know, this business with the, you know, this business with, you know, the debts and everything, and the fact that they are still spending loads and loads and loads of money when they should be paying their fucking debts. And I said this last night. I said, you know, instead of spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on flipping gaming laptops and God knows what, gaming computers and God knows what else, they should actually be paying their debts, which is what, you know, most decent people would be doing, is paying their fucking debts, which is what they should be doing. But they would, you know, at the end of the day, you know, enough said. You know, I'm not going to apologise for saying this because someone had to say it. You know, someone had to make that point. They should be paying their fucking debts instead of lying through their back teeth, which is what are very well known for doing. You know, they love a good opportunity to lie. Those two, you know, that's one thing they've become ridiculously well known for at this point. I have to say, simple as that. So I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. I want to give my thoughts on that. So yeah, this will be the first of probably one or two videos I do today. There won't be any more. There won't be any videos tomorrow evening, as I'm out tomorrow evening. So there will be no. I won't be uploading anything tomorrow evening, but I probably will upload something tomorrow morning if I feel the need to do that. I probably will do that. But yeah, this is that's probably gonna be I'm thinking maybe one or two more videos today. It depends on what else I have on today. 'Cause I don't really know what else I've got planned. But I'm probably gonna do a few more videos at least today. Talking about all this stuff and you know really kind of going in hard on it. You know, and obviously giving my thoughts on this in particular. This you know on what is quite a crazy situation for the most part, and you know, really give my thoughts on that as I'm entitled to do. You know, if I want to give my opinion on that, I will do that. You know, because it's what you know, it's something that I'm entitled to do. You know, I don't care whether people don't think I should be giving my opinion or voicing my opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm entitled to voice that opinion, and it's opinion. It is an opinion I am going to voice. Simple as that. I don't care whether people don't agree with me voicing that opinion, but there you go. When it comes to things like this, you have to call them out for this, and you have to, question the fact that people are choosing to believe every single thing that they actually say. You know, and that's the thing that I keep questioning is like, why do people always choose to believe every single thing that they actually say? Because not every single thing they say is actually true, and that is the reality of the situation. They will claim that what they're saying is true, but the reality of the situation is it's not. They are lying through their flipping teeth, as they always do. That's what they like to do. They like to lie. As for them, lying is easier than actually telling. It's actually easier than most things. They do like to lie and claim that they've done that wrong when actually they have. And they're lying through the back teeth as per usual. Like when are the inghams not lying? Well, I mean, this is the thing. When do the inghams ever actually tell the truth? They never do. They never ever do tell the truth. They always lie. Yeah, people always seem to think that they are telling the truth, and I don't know why. I don't get why people always, these idiots who, these idiot IFAM always believe that they're telling the truth. Because a lot of the time they're not. A lot of the time they are blatantly lying. Yeah, the IFAM always seem to fucking think that those two clowns are telling the truth. But this time they're not. This time they are lying through their fucking back teeth. We all know that they are over 100 grand in debt. None of that's a lie. That all of that information is in fact true. I don't care if at the end of the day people want to think that's a lie, then that's their problem. But at the end of the day, we all know it's not a lie, and I'll keep saying that. People keep talking about this because we all know it's true. If we all knew this wasn't true, no one would be talking about it. No one would be saying anything about it if they knew that it wasn't true. I can guarantee you that. That's what I'm gonna say on the matter. So I hope you've enjoyed this video anyway, and I'll see you for another video soon. Bye.